Estimation and conversion via probability number 2. Now, when we last left our heroes, we were working on an assignment, estimation and conversion via probability number 1. And there was some confusion on what to do with a decimal to a fraction conversion. A lot of them are simple, relatively, like 0.6 into a fraction. But I know a lot of you guys, especially from middle school days, struggle with that, and that is a frustrating point for you. And this Desmos calculator, as good as it is, does not do that. And so one thing I just did is I Googled decimal to fraction calculator, and it came up, first link, where it allows you to type your decimal, hit calculate, and then come into a fraction. So I could just show you that. If you just type decimal to fraction converter and hit the first link, there's a lot of them, honestly. And let's be honest, when you graduate and you want to end up having a decimal to fraction converter one day, you'll just ask Siri or something. You could probably even use your phone for that now, even before this. Okay, let's do these 8 problems. Determine whether the event is impossible, unlikely, equally likely, likely, or certain. There's a 1.0 chance of rain. Well, let's immediately start using this calculator. 1.0, oh, it needs to be less than 0. Fine. Well, a reminder that if I have a decimal and I want to turn it into a percent, I just multiply it times 100. So it's 100%, and percent's always out of 100. So there is a 100% chance it rains today. That doesn't just mean likely, that means certain. A 100% chance that it rains. Number 2 talks about a spinner. This is a classic casino problem. We've got 8 wedges. We want to know the odds it lands on blue or red. Ooh, interesting. When I was doing this earlier, it only said red, and red was only a 25% chance it was unlikely. But for me, blue or red, that's everything but the yellow piece. So you could still land on yellow, but this is likely because every one of the other sectors is blue or red but one. This is an example of a one that the casino would not put money on, or if they did, they'd give you like $1.05 back for every dollar you spent because they knew that when you landed on yellow, they'd get it all. All right, 0.2 as a simplified fraction. There we go. Now I can click over here. It's less than 1. 0.2, boom, 1/5, 1/5. That's just 2/10 reduced. Written as a percent. So now we're going to go back over here because, again, I just need to multiply it times 100. 20%. You can also notice that all you have to do is move your decimal point over 2 spots. If I moved it over 1, 2, and then added a little 0, I'd get 20. See, I'll show you by writing it down. Anytime you have a decimal to a percent, you can just move it over 2 spots, add a 0, get rid of that one. 20! Yay! Okay. Halfway done. Number 5. 1/4 is a decimal. Well, that one, you can just type in 1/4 and it'll spit out the decimal for you. You might also know in your head that 1/4, it's like 1/4 of $1 is 25 cents. So 1/4 of 1 is 0.25. 3/5 as a percent. All right, this one's a 2-stepper. So we got to turn it into a decimal. And then remember, once we have it as a decimal, we just move this over 2 spots. Or we could multiply it by 100. 60. All right, number 7, 20% as a decimal. So this is the first time we're starting with a percent and we're going backwards to a decimal. So with a decimal to a percent, we took the decimal and we multiplied by 100. Well, since we're going backwards, we're going to take our percent and we're going to divide by 100. Although, look, it's the same one I've been pointing to the whole time. 0.2. You could also just put 0.2. It'll still count, all right? You don't have to have that 0. Finally, there's a 60% chance of an event. Write this probability as a simplified fraction. So we can use both of our little tabs here. I can do what I just did and divide by 100 to get 0.6. And then I can come over here to my converter, type in 0.6, and get 3/5. All right. Well, there you go. So you've got a nice little refresher on decimals, fractions, percents. If you're still confused after all these years on how to turn decimals into fractions, you have a little converter you can use online. Hopefully you got 100 on this. As always, I hope this video finds you happy, healthy, safe, and well. This has been your virtual teacher, Dylan. It's an honor and a pleasure to teach you each and every day, even though I can't see your face. I hope that you have an absolutely wonderful and fantastic day. Take care. Bye-bye.